Hello, the internet. How are you guys doing this week? We are doing well. In 608 days, Evan will be turning 40. This is mostly going to be a health update, mostly because that's primarily what's been going on with us. This past week, we borrowed some Fitbits from some wonderful people at church, and we've been tracking our sleep, which has been a really interesting process. Actually, I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I like compiling data and trying to see connections, so I'm enjoying that piece of it, but I also have been really happy to see how good of a sleeper I have become, which, given my history, I've had sleep issues pretty much since I was born. Not quite, but pretty close. And I had insomnia and nightmares and, whole 9 yards. I did a sleep study. So the insomnia and nightmares started when I was around, 3, 4, somewhere in that vicinity, and then just continued until probably about 2 years ago when we really started getting a handle on sleep issues. And it's been amazing. I did a sleep study probably almost a decade ago now, and I woke up like 85 times over the course of the night. So I've been really happy to relook at that data. I mean, I can tell that I feel better and that I feel like I'm getting better sleep, especially this year. I already told you guys, back in the end of December, beginning of January, we were exposed to Dr. John Bergman's video on sleep, and so we've been sleeping less. I feel like I'm getting more deep sleep, which is really nice. I consistently am getting about an hour and 20 minutes of deep sleep, according to the Fitbit. And we are planning to try to compress that even further and see if we get more deep sleep, especially since Evan tends to wake up more than I do, which, again, I'm pretty sure that's a result of doing the compressed sleep schedule, because before we did the compressed sleep schedule, I was waking up multiple times a night. I feel like I was constantly in light sleep. It was pretty miserable. So now it's great. I lay down in bed and fall asleep within 5-10 minutes max and stay asleep usually all night. Not always, but most of the time I wake up in the morning and it's the next morning, which is crazy after 30 whatever odd years of waking up sometimes like every 20 minutes or something, and look at the clock, get frustrated, try to go back to sleep. We are going to take a break from messing with our sleep because this next week we are going to try doing the keto diet. This is not a new lifestyle change for us. We're all about the body hacks. I think after doing years of natural health stuff, we're just, how do we make this easy? How do we get the best results with the least amount of effort? Because time is at a premium. Next week, we are going to be doing keto. We're going to do it until we get to a specific number of ketones. You measure that with urine strips. And then basically, this is again a Dr. Bergman thing, but you do keto, I think it's 3 days a month. And then you do 16-hour fasts the rest of the time, which just means that you only eat for 8 hours a day, which is something we've already been doing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, to see how it goes. But it has been a little crazy. I did not know that keto is so hard. I mean, it's so popular, you wouldn't think it would be so difficult, but I've been putting various recipes into different, apps like FitDay primarily, just to check and see, because you're supposed to get a certain percentages of macronutrients. So your fat needs to be between 70 to 80% of whatever it is that you're eating for the day, but also, you can either do overall for the day or you can do for each specific meal, which is what we're doing, because it just feels like more work to try to figure it out throughout the day. And with kids, our kids are going to be doing it too. Keto is actually designed for kids, which is really interesting to me. But so anyway, 70 to 80% fats, 10 to 15% protein, and 5 to 10% carbs. So those are kind of the macronutrient ratios you're looking for from my research. Dr. Mike, who is one of Dr. Bergman's associates, and he gave the talk that we watched on this, he talks about how you can pretty much either be super strict and hardcore and have it take not very much time to reset your body so that your metabolism can utilize ketones, which is, it's burning fat instead of running on glucose. Or alternatively, you can just keep messing around with it. And, it sounds like that's what a lot of people do. They don't really pay attention to their macronutrient ratios, and it takes a long time to get into ketosis that way, a lot of trial and error. We don't want to take the time for trial and error, so we're being pretty hardcore about figuring out the macronutrients. And I have been shocked that the majority of recipes are not already in those macronutrient ballparks. And it's crazy. There's thousands of keto recipes online, and of course I'm having to also filter them according to what kind of things I think my kids will actually eat. But still, you wouldn't think it would be so difficult to actually find a recipe that you don't have to alter in some fashion for it to meet keto standards. So anyway, I've spent several hours over the past week just looking at recipes and inputting them and trying to see if I can tweak them and figuring stuff out. So hopefully next week it'll be a lot easier. I guess we'll see. It's also common when you're first starting keto to have the ketogenic flu. So that can basically your body, while it's switching between, metabolizing glucose to metabolizing ketones, you can feel pretty miserable for a few days. So there's some things you can do to fix that, and hopefully we will not be miserable next week. One of them is to up your different minerals. So we already have magnesium oil. We use magnesium oil on a daily basis. We're just going to up the amounts. I'm also going to have the kids take potassium citrate. We'll see. These are not specific brands that I recommend or anything in particular. These are the ones that we're going to use. And we're going to take extra ketones just until our bodies adjust to working in that fashion. I also know we need to up our sodium, but rather than buying sodium pills or something like that, I just figured we would make sure that we sprinkle extra salt on our food. And if the kids don't want to do that, then I'll give them the choice between sprinkling salt on their food or drinking water with a little bit of salt in it. So you can get dehydrated really easily and low on your electrolytes. So these are ways to make sure that you don't have those problems, that you don't feel horrible the whole time. That's what we're going to be trying. And as I said, I'll keep you guys posted on how it goes. I don't know. I'm excited to see how it goes, but I'm also a little apprehensive to see how the kids handle it. And I don't know. I'm really hopeful that it won't take more than 2 weeks for us to get into ketosis and to get into the level of ketosis we need to be in. I guess we'll see. Yeah, and hopefully, I don't know, it may be as much cooking as Whole30 was. I keep reminding myself, we just did Whole30. We got through it. It wasn't that big of a deal. We can handle doing 2 weeks of keto. The other thing that I thought I'd update you guys on is my cold showers, how that's going. Actually, the main reason I'm updating you guys is because I realized this week that that's primarily why I'm continuing to do it. Usually I'm really good at being a self-starter, but this one has just been such a hurdle. So yeah, if I didn't have you guys to keep me accountable, then I think I would have ditched them a while back. So last week, I don't remember where I was at, but over the weekend, I decided that it was silly to wait until August. I'm pretty sure I told you guys in my last video that according to the timeline of adding, 30 seconds of cold shower time every week, and eventually by August, I would be up to 10 minutes, and that's when you're supposed to feel amazing. And I'm not sure, honestly, if it's the length of time that you're taking, the length of time in each shower, or the number of times that you've showered. So is it just that your body needs a couple of months to make those changes, or is it because you've been showering for 10 minutes? So I don't know, but I decided that I would rather speed up the process. So in case it is the fact that you're just in the shower for 10 minutes, we've been doing 10 to 15 minutes of cold exposure, either outside in the mornings if it's below 60 degrees outside, or I've been doing 10-minute showers. So I can't say that the cold is definitely not my warm friend. Yeah, that's what Wim Hof says, that the cold is his warm friend. I am not to that point yet. However, I can say that I'm less stressed about it. I'm more okay with the fact that I'm going to be cold, and then I trust my body to be able to warm back up, which is different for me because I don't like the cold. And with my autoimmune over the last few years, sometimes when I get cold, it takes me a really long time to warm up, and it is super uncomfortable. You know, I feel like someone's stabbing my adrenals, and it's not fun. So being able to trust my body that yes, I will warm back up, it will be okay, is new for me. We'll see. Maybe eventually the cold will become my warm friend. I mean, I have various goals as far as it's not on straight cold yet. It's almost straight cold. And the temperature I think is 62 degrees. So it's pretty close. But so first goal is to get the temperature all the way down, and then we'll see about like doing ice baths and increasing length of time and stuff like that. Everything else is just kind of trucking along. This is already getting several minutes long, so next week I will tell you guys about my new trick to try to keep myself grounded in the progress we have made. All right, I hope you guys have an awesome week. I will talk to you later.